Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I want to talk about signs an avoidant can't escape the bond that they have with you. Not every case is like this, okay? And it's not always going to be the case with any single person. It might not be like you might have an ex where they keep coming back and this is the case. Or it might be the case that you had an ex and this is not the case. Or your partner, you feel like this strongly is the case. What I mean is that there is some situations where an avoidant has this very deep bond with you that they just can't escape from, and that triggers them. And the reason why I bring this up is because I have had calls with you guys where you guys have very long relationship with avoidance. And by the way, it's improving. You guys are doing great. I just want to let you guys know all of you guys are doing amazing. And there's progress, but the bond is so deep and you guys have been doing this for so long, you're even confused. Like, how come they don't go away? How come if we're not doing that well, how come they never leave me? Right? Some avoidants leave and they never come back. How come mine always comes back? Or how come we have been doing this for 10 years? And this is kind of that case. So it might not fit everybody. And if you're curious if that's your avoidant, you can book a call with me or email me. That's pinned in the comments. You can write whatever details you want, and that will be a good, comfortable situation for you to really figure out so you're not confused anymore. Like, you can get the answers pretty quickly, right? And so the first one is that they never fully leave you and they always come back, okay? So I don't like to admit this to you guys because I don't want you guys to be in a situation where you think this is healthy, because it's not. Like, healthy is different than normal, okay? This is not healthy, but it is really common and unfortunately normal for avoidants to sometimes leave and then come back, then leave and then come back. And you guys have this like off and on type of situation. And the reality of it is because they don't really like to admit that they love you, but they can't escape the bond they have with you. Like, that's just the easiest way to put it. I know it doesn't give much information because it confuses you and you think, why can't they just get over it? Why can't they just accept the bond? They have to start healing. And you have to probably do some of the work too. And that's the part that makes it unfun, right? It doesn't make it so romantic, but it's true. There are things that you can do to adjust yourself so that it can be easier for them to also want to adjust themselves. And that's why I have services, so you can figure out what you can do so that this, relatively annoying and painful situation, more than annoying, a lot of times it's very painful and hurtful situation that you guys are always off and on. But if you need progress, pinned in the comments, right? The next one is you give them more feelings than they're comfortable feeling, okay? Again, not fun, but a reality. Avoidants don't like feelings, right? If any of you guys are avoidants, which I know some of you guys are, you don't like feelings, right? You don't like a surplus of feelings. They make you feel out of control. They make you feel like you're not really sure what's happening. It makes you feel like you're more susceptible to being controlled. And so when someone or something gives you a lot of feelings, you're going to avoid that. That's the way avoidants are. And until they get more comfortable with that, it's going to be very challenging. And so sometimes what happens is that's why avoidants need relationships that move slower than the typical, because they need it paced or spaced out so that they don't have a surplus of those feelings. Because if they feel a lot of feelings, even positive feelings, they're going to disengage and detach. But that's why they always come back, because that bond is why they have those strong feelings. They really do love you. And so you might have a situation, I've had a lot of calls with you guys where it's you guys break up and then they want to be friends with you, but then they invite you to like a trip, or they invite you to hang out with them or meet their family as a friend, but then it's not a friend. It's like, it is the relationship, but it's just like a slower version of the relationship. That's basically them saying, I can't really live without you, but I can't move too quickly. And so let's have a relationship where it's really slow, but because I can't escape the bond I have with you, I kind of have no choice but to keep you in my life. And you might be confused because you're thinking, what is going on? We're friends, but we're intimate, or sometimes we're intimate and we have this bond and we're connected and we're the person that talks to each other. What's going on? This is why. If you want to have your questions answered by me on a live call, we are having a group consultation session, which you guys are welcome to join. It is much more affordable than my other rates, quite a bit more affordable. And so you guys might really like that. The questions that you ask can be anonymous, but I still will answer them live, and you'll hear a lot more details because of that. You can join the call with the camera off. You can just be part of the chat. That's fine as well. But the questions you can ask on the intake form, and you can write whatever you want. And if I have time to get through all of them, which I plan to do so, yeah, I'll answer them in a lot of detail. And I think that'll be helpful for a lot of you guys who you want to get some clarification on some dynamics, you want some direction, and it's not as feasible for you to see me one-on-one. But this will allow you to not just get your questions answered live and detailed by me, but also will allow you to see other people's questions answered as well, in case that there are a lot of dynamics that you can learn from. And so that's kind of the goal of this call. So if you are interested, that is pinned in the comments. And once you go ahead and sign up, get your seat, you will be emailed in a couple business days the session link. And so please keep in mind and look out for that. And it may go into your spam, so check that as well, because I want you guys to have that. The date is going to be, let's check and open it right here. I think it is, yes, it is August 9th. At 11 a.m. Eastern. And so for me, that will be 11 a.m. For you, check that time, and that should work out okay for some of you guys, most of you guys, because I can kind of see your time zone. I think it's a pretty good time, which is why I picked it. But if you want to join, that is pinned in the comments. The next one is they use confusing language because they are truly confused. 1 minute they say, I don't know. You make me feel different. I don't normally feel like this. Then sometimes I might say, yes, I do want to do that. Or yes, I do want to get married. Or I do love you. Or I think you're the person I want to be with. It's confusing. It's because they're confused. The moment where they're less triggered, they can open up and say, I love you. I feel for you. I care for you. And then when they're more triggered, I don't know. I don't normally feel like this. I can't give you what you want. And the reality is it's a battle between them and their triggers, not you. You're stuck in the middle of it. And so what do you do? Well, I can't give you specific things because I don't know your specific case, but an example could be if their trigger is stress, meaning it has nothing to do with you. Don't bring up the romantic side of yourself, not nearly as strongly unless their stress is down, meaning you still can have conversations, you still can communicate, but maybe the more romantic conversations, talking about how you feel or your future, things like that, save that for when they're less stressed, because stress is a trigger. The next one is when they have a good day, they're more affectionate and loving because their trust is more stronger. So a good day, speaking of stress, if they have less stress, you might notice they're more affectionate, they're more loving, they're more physically intimate with you because they feel safe. Avoidants have a very, we've talked about this before. They have a small, their threshold for emotions are really strong. So if they have a lot of emotions outside of you, stress, pain, maybe they're sick, anything, they're not able to show up their best version romantically with you because there are other things that are taking over. You guys who are not avoidant, or maybe you have an anxious side, you're more flexible. Avoidants, especially strongly dismissive avoidant individuals, they don't have that flexibility. And so they cannot love you emotionally and also deal with work stress at the same time. They cannot. And so they're going to be a little bit more detached. But you just match that to some extent. I'm not saying matching energy in a vindictive way, but you're thinking, okay, right now I notice they're stressed because I respect them and love them. Let me not talk so detailed about what I want for our future because I know that's too much emotions. They love me and it'll be too strong. Let's just talk about our day. Maybe talk about what we're going to do with our friends or, more low pressure things. And then when they're less stressed, be more affectionate, because usually when they have that very strong bond, that is a gridlock that starts happening. Okay. The next one is that they're very used to being in control of their emotions, and around you it's just harder to control. Okay. And so what happens with this is they try to double down and try to control things, and they become incredibly rigid. Avoidants are rigid in general, but you might see when they are vulnerable or they're showing vulnerability, they become rigid afterwards because they're trying to think, okay, I don't know what just happened. That was a lot of emotions. Let me button up. Let me fix myself. Let me kind of reset because I don't know what just happened and I don't like being the person who's out of control because I don't know what happens next, right? Avoidants were reprimanded early in their life when they were not in control, when they did not have everything put together. And so often when they feel that lack of control, whether it's emotions or elsewhere, they want to reduce vulnerability. They want to be more rigid because that's their safety. And so you might start seeing that. Don't take it personal, because once they feel safe again, they're going to open up again, because this is signs that they have this unescapable bond with you, and you're going to start seeing that. And it's hard. It's an awkward situation because it's also like maybe you don't really see it like that anymore, right? You don't really see the bond as strong, but they still do. And so you're kind of stuck between, do I want this? Do I not? Is this what I want? Is this safe for me? But in the same time, you're seeing that they really do love you. And so you want to invest. And so that's why I make these videos, so that you know what direction you want to go which direction you want to go in. And the next one is you make them want to trust, and that's scary. Okay, for fearful avoidance, this one's going to be really prominent. Fearful avoidance, a lot of them have PTSD, they've had abuse, they have a lot of trauma. And so trusting is a lot more than just I'm vulnerable, I'm going to be reprimanded. For a fearful avoidant, it's I'm vulnerable, I might be starved, I might be physically abused, I might be A, B, and C. It's a lot more for a fearful avoidant. So if your partner is a fearful avoidant, just really coming from a trauma lens, right? Me as a therapist, I'm just saying, like, I do understand it's hard to be in a relationship with them, but also their experiences are so severe. Like, a lot of us who haven't had those experiences, we can't understand. Like, we have not been in that case. And so I would just say be very gentle. Not saying you have to stick around if you don't want to, but understand that, like, trust for them is scary, like actually scary, not just emotionally scary, but physically. They've been harmed a lot. And so if you see little moments of them opening up, I just want you to know how important you are to them. And so I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.